Zeta Zulu here with a review for Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Jazz. Now, this is a figure that I like a lot, but it may not be others' cup of tea. He is definitely kind of a departure from your typical jazz look, and I feel he's a serviceable jazz. Some people may think he's kind of a downgrade from the last jazz we got, which is true, but he's got to do some pretty neat things later on. So he's cast in white, black, and clear plastic with clear blue headlights. Now, this is where I have a bit of a problem. The clear plastic is definitely painted over white, and it matches pretty well, but it's not a perfect match to the white plastic. And that's a rough slope they chose to go with, mainly just to get a clear window look, which I'm not exactly in favor of. I would have been perfectly fine with this being regular white plastic with painted like black or blue windshields. And he, as you saw earlier, he does roll kind of well. It's not the best. Does what a car should. Detail wise, he has some blue paint apps, a lot of racing jargon, kinda. Got an Autobot logo, Energon number 4, Autobot Jazz. Same thing on the other side. Yeah, my tempo kind of rubbed off a little. That's from a little bit of play, and you can see some paint chip. That's also a little bit from a wear and tear from me. Just really enjoying this figure a lot. And he has a white paint strip around the front, and the blue extends to the back. And there's no paint detail on the back. I'm sure, well, actually I'm not so sure a Takara version will paint this, but there's definitely ways to get around that. You can paint it yourself. There's probably some repro labels out there about now. And he's got this beautiful stripe going down the front of his hood and driver area. Got the number 4, a nice Autobot logo. Got the light blue and the red stripes in it as well. Just all around real cool. So, accessories comes with kind of typical jazz gun done up in silver on white plastic. Looks pretty cool. Basic. It can plug into any of these 3 ports on the top. As proof, let's just go and do all 3. Boom on the side. Boom on the other side. And boom on the top. Which, arguably the dumbest of them. Like, definitely looks better on one of the sides. Now, he has these 4 pegs on the back, which can plug into either a Prime Master or a Titan Master's feet. I don't have one on me right now to show that off. And his last accessory / accessories is this big old gray hand block. Now, this is called a Prime Armor, and it's kind of helps to facilitate the gimmick of this line, which is like the Prime Masters, which take out this cover, they'll plug in right here, and they're supposed to power up the figure. It's honestly kind of dumb, but hey, if it's what some kid enjoys doing with his toys, who am I to judge? Now, this can also be used as its own thing, as kind of like a little gun, triple barrel, kind of dumb. It's whatever. Dinobots come with them. Some of the other figures in line come with them, and I have an idea of what I'm gonna do with ones that come with Dinobots. It'll be kind of interesting. Now, it has this big old peg on the bottom, and it can plug into any of these pegs basically, but it's mainly supposed to plug onto the top one. peg in the hole, kind of move these bits down. Now it's kind of like he's got some little jet booster on the back one, making it go a little bit faster. Or if you want to have it facing front, kind of like he's got some blasters on the front, give him a little bit of firepower, a little bit more firepower as opposed to his little dinky pea shooter gun. Now, let's get into the... Actually, let's do some size comparisons real quick. Here's Transformers Animated Jazz, one of my favorite incarnations of them. Power of the Primes Jazz is just a little bit longer, but Animated Jazz is probably a little bit taller than him. And then, which I so graciously have my first Jazz, the original Transformers, the movie Jazz, who I think they look alright together. Alright, get out of here. Now, let's get on to the transformation. It's a little weird if you don't do some steps in the right order. So, first off, we'll take these panels on the side, flip them straight up. These will be his arms. You can already see the hands. Then we will just hinge this up so we can work with this entire section. We fold this in half. This pegs into this bit with these tabs right here and these holes right here. It's a rough connection to get them in vehicle mode. I've done enough to where they're kind of loosened up on me. And then, yeah, move his head back a little, and you pop this up from the underside, fold it in. It's got a hole right here and a peg right here. That'll just connect like that. And you just bring it forward. So gives them that kind of a look. And then you push the head up and swivel it around. Rotate the arms down a bit. Now let's get to work on the lower body. Now this is where I draw some problems with this figure, but you split the legs and then you open up these compartments. My problem is that these open up outward this way. They open inward, so there's not a lot of like clearance really when going between modes depending on what stage you're in. So then you just extend it out on the double hinge, push out the feet until you hear a click, and then close that back up. Do the same on the other side. Open it up, pull it out on the double hinge, and then push the foot out to your snap and close it back up. Now we basically accordion this all down on the double hinge, get it all nice and flush, and then we're going to bring this down and have these two pegs go into these two holes. And ba-boom, there you have, let me move my camera up a little bit. Here you have Power of the Primes Jazz in his robot mode, which I think looks pretty cool. He's definitely a bit chunkier, a bit beefier. Some new details revealed. We got this nice black paint app going all around. Actually, I believe... Okay, I believe that's just... This bit is just black. No. Okay, so it's black plastic from here to here, and then this is some white plastic, and this gets painted over. So that's interesting. You got some black paint apps on his crotch. You get a lot of this nice glossy black on his legs and the silver on the shins and feet. Looks pretty nice. On his arms, you get some more black plastic revealed. And that's about it. Uh-oh. He unaccordioned on me. There we go. Get that nice and secure. So, I think he looks pretty good. Articulation wise, his head's on a ball joint, but it's kind of limited. You can get it to go 360. Arms will rotate 360 and then move out at this upper joint, transformation joint that looks a little weird, but it's the articulation you got to deal with. Ball joint at the elbow, so you can get the nice 90-degree bend. You get the rotation, all that good stuff. Kind of get a little bit of wiggle. Now his wrists, they are on a mushroom peg and they can rotate, but you don't get a lot. It's mainly inward, and that's just because of this big old panel down here. And that's a bit of a disappointment, but you'll live. The waist, it does rotate, but you can't, well, you can get a full 360, but you kind of got to finagle around this back panel. The legs, they go forward and back. They're on a ball joint. They can go out, so you get a pretty nice spread. He's got a thigh rotation on a mushroom peg and a single jointed knee, which gets you about 90 degrees. And the foot, it's basically stationary, but you can kind of bend it in a little bit if that's what you're looking for. So I don't know, he's got some pretty good articulation. Now, this figure is one other thing, but I'll get to that in a moment. I'm gonna cut real quick and bring in the other two Jazzes transformed, and we can continue the review. And we're back. Here he is with the other two Jazzes that I showed earlier. He's shorter than the animated Jazz over here, and he's about the same height as the movie Jazz. Movie Jazz maybe just has him beat by his horns. So there's that. Now, as far as accessories go, they can basically plug into his hands. Real easy, like just peg and hole. Boom, he has his gun. You can pose with it. Ah, jeez. Man, always when it's review time, nobody wants to cooperate. I see how it is, y'all. Shoot a sucker down. He has functionality with his prime armor in two ways, one of which I'm okay with, the other I'm like, it's kind of dumb. Now, the armor way is you take it, and it has these two pegs, and he has some holes in the front of his grill, and you basically just line those pegs up, kind of get in there at the angle, and now he's wearing his prime armor, which honestly looks like a just looks like a baby carrier, honestly. It's really kind of dumb. The gun that's stored in here can fit in his hand rather nicely. I can get some double gun action, although the clear gun is kind of bland. And then the way that I like to have his prime armor, I like to flip out the peg and then just attach it to the arm. Because he has holes in his forearms. And I think that's pretty rad. Gives him just this big old arm, double barrel cannon thing. Or go around to the back using the holes that he had. You can give him butt thrusters. I mean, it's no dumber than the prime armor on the front, but who doesn't like butt thrusters? Alright, now this figure does two more things. And that's, you can turn to two kinds of limbs. An arm and a leg. Now, let me get to showing you guys that. So basically, you're going to want to get him back into vehicle mode, essentially. Flip his head back down. Flip this piece back through. Actually, you're supposed to get that connected before you snap it into the other clear piece. I think that's good. You can fold the arms in, and like this will go into the arm mode. So you'll connect his feet together, flip the toes back in, rotate around, and then I forget how you're supposed to do this. Okay. So he has notches in his forearm and pegs on the side of his body. You're basically gonna line those up so that it just kind of chills there over them. It's not a really tight connection, but it's serviceable. And then you flip out the combining port, and now you take this prime armor, which it'll get to its actual function, being a hand. Flip out the fingers, close down the thumb, and then plug this peg into this hole. And ta-da! He's now an arm. Kind of long of an arm, and not exactly the most stable, but he has some pretty good range of motion as an arm. Kind of get a double jointed elbow. On the combiner port, you can move out, forward, you know, the good stuff. Jeez. This is not the most secure form of jazz. Alright. Now, the other form is that of a leg. Put this all off to the side. So, you leave the combiner port out. Leave this as is. You're going to rotate this back. And you're going to basically retransform his legs back into the vehicle mode configuration. So, collapse them in. Close them up. Collapse them in. Close them up. Connect them. And now, you see these holes back here? They are going, these little bits at the bottom of the sides of the car are going to peg into those holes. So you just accordion it down on the double hinge and just try to line this up as best you can. Alright, there's one side, and now start getting the other side in there. Alright, it's kind of as good as that's gonna get. No, alright. Get it like that. That out. Come on. It's really weird working with this double hinge. It sometimes doesn't want to cooperate. Alright, that's as good as that's going to get. And then you just leave the port up. And now he's a foot. Kind of chunky, but kind of streamlined as well. I like it. He'll have basic knee articulation. And the foots, they kind of have they're basically on the same peg, go in the hole. So they'd be able to rotate and move side to side so you can get your tilt. Alright, let's get this guy back in vehicle mode and end this review. And it's a really simple conversion. You just flip the arms back out. Make sure you get these tabs into those holes. Fit it back in. Close it back up. And boom, you're back to vehicle mode. So, thanks for watching. That was Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Jazz. Zeta Zulu, signing out.